Report on First Annual State Conference 2022, organized by All Bengal Blind Teachers Association on 28th and 29th May 2022 at Juva Bharati Youth Hostel, Salt Lake, Kolkata. We feel immense pleasure to state that our All Bengal Blind Teachers Association successfully organized its first annual state conference at Juva Bharati Youth Hostel, Salt Lake, Kolkata on 28th and 29th May 2022 with the help of its executive committee and the conference committee. The venture reached high watermark with the participation of 81 delegates from different parts of West Bengal, overcoming innumerable barriers. The assembly included 19 female delegates. Some of the participants came with their escorts. 12 volunteers from various professions and from different parts of West Bengal extended their assistance to organize this conference smoothly with their constant and spontaneous support. Our first state conference commenced with hoisting the flag of our organization by the current organization president, Shri Hemanta Banerjee, at 3 p.m. on 28th May 2022. Following the event, all delegates took part in a colorful procession covering the whole area from the youth hostel to the Beleghatta connector, Salt Lake, Kolkata, defying the scorching sun from 3:10 to 4 p.m. The inaugural session opened with a beautiful song, Sangha Chaddam Sangha Baddham, presented by some of our respected members after returning to the conference hall at 4:15 p.m. The chief guest and other special guests were welcomed by our organization. They shared their valuable opinions and offered their thoughtful advice regarding our future organizational plans and goals. Senior Professor Dr. Nilanjana Gupta acted as a chief guest. Mr. Bishwajit Mitro, Mr. Torun Noshkar, Mr. Nilkanto Ghosh, Srimati Gargi Gupta, Mr. Shoikot Kumar Kaur, Mr. Dhruvapada Pal, Mr. Pratap Mondol, and other distinguished guests from various teachers as well as social organization enriched the first annual conference with their gracious presence. After the tea break was over, all delegates gathered in the conference hall for the discussion about the memorandum of the organization. Mr. Nilanjan Mishro, one of our volunteers, read out the whole memorandum in front of the gathering from top to bottom. After a thorough discussion, the delegates unanimously voted for a specific amendment. Our organizational memorandum can be modified or amended in any physical general meeting as well as conferences with the 2/3 majority of the participants. After a healthy debate, the conference set up a memorandum amendment committee that will take measures in direction of accumulating, classifying, and analyzing suggestions and views regarding the memorandum tabled by different members of the organization for the effective amendment of the memorandum within 1 year and propose the same in a separate physical general meeting. 12 members were chosen from different sectors. Srimati Shobita Dhar, Mr. Pradip Chandra Siddhar, Mr. Soumitra Singh Mahapatra, Mr. Mrinal Kanti Saha, Mr. Amit Sarkar, Mr. Anirban Mukherjee, Srimati Sonali Pani, Srimati Nilanjana Sen, Mr. Ishan Chakraborty, Mr. Sanjay Kumar Kaur, the President of the organization and the General Secretary of the organization. Dinner over, our cultural program started at 10 p.m. The melodious night got filled up with so many songs, recitations, 2 plays, and 2 instrumental performances till midnight. In the next morning, after taking the breakfast, next session of our program began with the painstaking description of the past activities of the organization and its future plans by Mr. Muhammad Asifuzzaman. Afterwards, our treasurer, Mr. Shurojit Bishwas, presented a detailed account of the financial transaction of the organization during the 2021 to 2022 financial year. The delegates approved of all the collections and expenses of the organizational funds. According to the treasurer, an amount of around 58,000 rupees remained as cash in hand in the treasury on 31st March 2022. Many of our delegates raised their valuable questions, proposals and suggestions from their end. General Secretary Dr. Gautam Majhi tried to answer the questions and proposals in specific way on behalf of the previous executive committee. The Honorable Education Minister, Government of West Bengal, Sri Bratto Boshu, arrived accepting our invitation in our first conference unexpectedly. He remained with us for almost 30 minutes and shared his important views and assured us of the smooth solution of our problems in the future on the ministerial level. Mr. Tanmoy Ghosh came to our conference on behalf of the Honorable Chief Minister, Government of West Bengal. He also delivered his message and promised on her behalf complete support to our cause. In the next session, Mr. Bishwajit Mitro and Mr. Utpal Shannal announced the names of the panel for next executive committee on behalf of the Election Commissioner. This panel was constituted of 15 members from 13 districts of different parts of West Bengal, including 4 members from primary section, 9 from Madhyamik and HS section, and 2 from college and university level. This panel was unanimously accepted by the delegates. The panel members are as follows: Srimati Shobita Dhar, Mr. Pradip Chandra Shikdar, Mr. Mohammad Rejak, Mr. Mohammad Arifuz Zaman, Mr. Horipada Hajra, Mr. Satyajit Ghosh, Mr. Pranab Singho, Mr. Madhusudan Maiti, Mr. Shantu Ghosh, Mr. Hemanta Banerjee, Mr. Surajit Bishwas, Mr. Mohammad Asifuz Zaman, Dr. Gautam Majhi, Dr. Nilanjana Sen, and Srimati Arpana Majumdar. After taking the lunch, new executive committee met together in a short meeting and distributed the portfolios of the secretariat and other important committees. The distribution of the responsibilities are as follows: President, Mr. Hemanta Banerjee; the 2 vice presidents, Dr. Nilanjana Sen and Mr. Madhusudan Maiti; General Secretary, Dr. Gautam Majhi; the 2 joint secretaries, Mr. Horipada Hajra and Srimati Arpana Majumdar; Treasurer, Mr. Surajit Bishwas; Chief Assistant of the Treasurer, Mr. Pradip Chandra Shikdar; Web Monitoring Committee, Mr. Mohammad Arifuz Zaman, Mr. Pradip Chandra Shikdar and Mr. Mohammad Rejak; Women Cell, Srimati Shobita Dhar, Dr. Nilanjana Sen, Srimati Arpana Majumdar and Mr. Mohammad Asifuz Zaman; Grievance Redressal Cell, Mr. Satyajit Ghosh, Mr. Shantu Ghosh, Mr. Pranab Singho and Mr. Hemanta Banerjee. By the end of the announcement of these portfolios and other committee members, our first annual state conference came to its close with lots of hope and enthusiasms. All participants in various capacity appreciated heartily the arrangement of food and lodging. The volunteers deserve the special thanks and appreciations from our organization. This first state conference obviously played an important role in framing future plans of our organization and activities. All of our delegates reached their destinations safely in the end, which is another good feeling left with us. This was really an initiation into an era of activity, bonding and commitment. Read by Aishwarya Sengupta, volunteer, All Bengal Blind Teachers Association.